I get the special edition holiday key flavored LaCroix. And now I don't have to lick any. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nate Balding.
And I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by the Monstroco Reverse Candle. Light this inverted candle of blackest wax to plunge any area into immediate and impenetrable darkness. Do not touch the black flame, nor leave it unattended, lest the darkness consume ye and shortly the world. Monstroco Inverse Candle. Careful.
Seems like I could use this to help me sleep when, the neighbor's spotlight is blaring into my window.
Yeah, when they're trying to spot you in the room, trying to, get footage of the shadow man that creeps around, and you're just like, oh, just let us sleep. Never speak to me or my shadow son again.
So what if we sleep in the same bed? We live in a 500 square apartment, and we're trying to make it. I'm a single shadow person father, doing the best I can.
Stop filming us for your TikTok content.
I'm just surprised they stock it at Michael's.
Yeah. And they also put it right next to the regular candle, which is kind of a move of Monstroco, I've noticed. They like to kind of trick people into lighting the black candle. I secretly think they want the black flame to spread across the world.
You do? They want Taki, the god of the black flame, to kind of rule all.
Yeah. Well, part of the thing with the reverse candle is that the flame only burns things that normal fire wouldn't burn. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much like everything.
Ice.
Yeah. It can burn ice. It can burn air. It can burn metal.
Any given soul.
Yeah. So it spreads really fast, and you can get it for $5.95 at Michael's.
Stocking stuffer.
Well, what do we got for him this week? Creepazoids.
I have a crazy tale I've never heard about before.
Go on, please.
Okay, good. I like the affirmative feeling I'm getting from all of you.
My body is ready. My mind is prepared.
Please.
I need to. There it was.
The speaking skull this week.
Oh yes.
The lie jar full of the flesh that Jordan didn't take from himself.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'll take it. I don't know why he doesn't take as much as he can, but to each their own. So I found a crazy tale from Argentina in 1988 when one-eyed bald dwarfs scared a bunch of teenagers.
All
Hilarious.
Right. It was a good time. This is from Anomalian.com, written by one Jake Carter in the cryptids and monsters category from them. I like Anomalian. They have fun with their stuff. And
I mean, that's a cool name.
They do.
And they pulled it from articles. They got the articles, baby. We'll look at them.
Got the arts.
They got the arts. Let's show one real quick. Share the screen. In the magazine La Opinion. Extra Day Football. Oh, that's not the article I'm trying to read. Sorry, there we go. The one about extraterrestrials. So these are all legitimately reported on sightings and everything. I enjoy the website, long story short.
Got it.
So in 1988, an Argentine news story emerged detailing an encounter between 4 teenagers and a group of short, bald humanoids with frog-like skin and a single eye.
Whoa.
And then
that is Mike Wazowski.
The very first picture is this. So not exactly accurate.
Okay, well, that's AI didn't do a great job with that.
It has, first of all, 2 pupils and 1 black eye, but AI is trying its best.
Yeah.
So whether these entities were aliens, interdimensional beings, or merely part of a hoax remains unknown. On the night of October 27th, 1988, in Pargimo, Argentina, the 4 teenagers were en route to the Vajetas nightclub when they spotted an unusual creature in the park. As per their description, the creature was devoid of hair, had skin reminiscent of frog skin, and bore a single large eye on their face.
Mike Wazowski.
Yes. They then noticed that this creature was not alone, and that the beings emitted guttural sounds causing distress to the teenagers.
See, you would think something like that would be alone for a long time, you know?
I think if you see one creature, there's a breeding population next to it.
Oh, okay.
And they all speak with weird guttural sounds.
Yeah.
I was going to say glottal sounds, but I don't.
I mean, it could still be glottal sounds.
Sure. Maybe both. Maybe all.
Perhaps both. The very next morning, this story made headlines in the local newspaper La Opinion with the headline, "Have aliens landed in Pargamino? Pargamino.
Or are there just some lepers in a park?
Lepers in the outfield.
But lepers don't have. I'm not going to show anyone pictures of lepers. That's rude. But that's not frog skin. Lepers in the outfield. The sequel to Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah. It was a weird choice.
No, I didn't. That was when I stopped watching sequels after Addams Family 2 hurt me.
What? Addams Family Values?
I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, it was so good. The turkey dance? Eat me. It's Thanksgiving time.
So the article...
One of like 3 Thanksgiving movies.
Yeah, truly. We had this discussion recently. We were trying to think of Thanksgiving movies. That was one of the main ones.
The article, spanning 2 pages, featured images of peculiar prints found on the ground, eyewitness stories, and notably a drawing portraying the appearance of a one-eyed dwarf sketched by one of the teenage witnesses. The incident's exact location was pinpointed as a section of Calle 14 in the Parque General San Martin area. If you're familiar with it, our technically one Argentinian listener, we know you're there.
We cherish you. We love Argentinian pizza.
What is that? Is it good?
Yeah, man. They put like eggs and corn and tuna on that shit.
That was good.
It's wild. They make a lot of empanadas too.
Argentina, here we come.
Yeah,
let's spend the fortune on 3 tickets. I would like to go as well. I was thinking, let's send you 2 there, and I was like, wait, I want to go as well.
We want to go. We want to go look for the Wazowskis, and we want to eat lots of pizza and empanadas and those big tall Cokes.
Anyway, back to paranormal. We'll think about food later.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now.
This area bordering the territory of the Club de Viajantes, near the National Route 88. The witness included 14-year-old Christian Casio and 3 19-year-olds, Javier... Let's butcher this name. Jarrigue, Silvio Pena, and Dario Duran. While 3 witnesses reported encountering 6 green dwarfs, 1 insisted that there were 5. All 4 affirmed that alongside the odd sounds, the dwarves gestured with their hands, attempting to communicate, possibly with them. According to the teenagers, they were walking past the park when the strange creatures suddenly emerged from the bushes, causing them to flee in fear.
Sure.
Christian Cassio's account of the event follows. There were 5 of them, and all of them were without clothes and spoke incomprehensibly. They made something like guttural moans. When they saw me, they all immediately pointed their fingers at me. They were about 70 centimeters high. I immediately made an Olympic jump from there.
Did they medal?
I think they did not medal, but it was a pretty far jump. After that, my friends and I went to La Caminera, where we told everyone about what we had seen. But at first, they did not believe us. Later, when they concluded that we were all sane, we returned to the club. Here's the second page of this article with a drawing of not the alien, but the dwarf.
Yeah, look at that.
Like he had shoes, maybe?
He had little shoes on. I forgot to mention the dwarf was wearing sneakers.
Right next to what I see is an article about trees.
Yeah, sure.
Good for them. Trees need more coverage.
For them.
Let's continue. In the morning, while inspecting the park and the place where a group of dwarves were allegedly seen, strange footprints were discovered on the ground, as if human, but as if left by small children.
Oh.
Tiny footprints.
In
the following days, a real pilgrimage began to this place, and probably all the residents of Pergamino who could walk visited there. This drew a crowd, man. I love it when paranormal shit draws a crowd.
Me too.
And like the whole town goes. Various. What was that one, Nate? I think it was one of your grave nuggets. That girl who, like, the news just bombarded.
Oh, yeah.
Or the house or something. There's so many cases of it.
I would have to look up the specific name, but
my point is, I guess,
like
join our
10,000
Patreon.
People showed up.
Yeah, join our Patreon. Listen to the Grave Nuggets. It's extra exclusive episodes only Patreon members get. And Nate covered a case where 10,000 people showed up to see a poltergeist haunting.
Poltergeist, yeah.
It's I like when it makes a festival atmosphere. I imagine it reminds me of like what would happen on The Simpsons, where it's like there's guys out there selling, like, I saw the poltergeist t-shirts. There's poltergeist fried poltergeist dough for sale.
Yeah, you can get snow cones and fried poltergeist. Exactly.
Yeah.
When the paper was interviewing employees of the club, a strange episode became known that occurred at the same time, 30 minutes past midnight, as the sighting of the dwarves, where here's employee Alicia Leal's story.
Okay.
In the back of the dining room, a light appeared, illuminating the room, unidentifiable, and someone was trying to open the door.
Okay.
I turned off all the lamps and immediately tried to see if they were thieves. I could not hear any noise or conversations. A few seconds later, this light began to move and then disappeared. On the street, about 100 meters away, I saw Hector Juan Martinez and one of my grandchildren who were talking amongst themselves, but they apparently did not see anything unusual there. Immediately, I told them what I saw, and a police patrol immediately arrived and told us that they had seen a group of green dwarves. Only then did I fully understand the situation. The young people who said that they saw what could be some kind of alien were very excited about what happened, and I was also amazed by the behavior of the dog that lives here with us. The dog never barked, even though he was close to the place where I saw the light.
And that day he spoke.
He spoke. Never barked, though. Still never barks. I just want you to know he's a good dog.
He said to me, He said unto me, tonight you will be visited by 3 spirits.
Oh.
Unless
Hector?
you give me some cheese.
Hector Juan Martinez, interviewed by journalists, confirmed that he actually did not see or hear anything strange when he was standing next to the club and only found out about what happened when the police arrived. And that's so far as much as we all know about this very interesting case I'd never heard about in Argentina about I'm gonna go side with what's his face. Let me find his name. I'm siding with Christian Casio. There was 5 of them, not 6. When 5 one-eyed, bald, green, frog-skinned dwarves scared the shit out of a bunch of teenagers in 1988.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it Teenage Argentinian One-Eyed Dwarf.
A palooza.
A palooza is my segment name.
Nice.
And I'm going to put the speaking skull into the arms of the crane and send it to the other side of the bunker where you are all at.
Okay.
Here, I'm hitting the button. It's going. And then it knows which one to go to. I'm just hitting one button. I'd have no control over here.
I'm good to go. If you want to go, I can wrap it up. Whatever you like.
The skull will decide.
It looks like the skull's heading your direction.
Oh, I got it. Oh, it's biting me. Oh, it's biting me. Oh, now it's trying to suckle my nipple.
What?
Now it's biting me.
Give it
My
milk. It's
zipper.
hungry, Jordan.
No, I do not wish to. I'm going to continue kind of our trend of terrifying wee critters with something that I learned about from a website called the W Files, and actually on a there's a YouTube channel that I can't. Hang on, let me find the history because I really want to credit them because they're not huge, but they're doing good work out here.
I looked it up, by the way. It was the Lindley Street haunting in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That was the crazy poltergeist thing.
Okay, yes. I learned about this on a YouTube channel called Beyond Creepy, which I can recommend. It's pretty fun. And this is a very strange case of what were called the Wauwatosa Gnomes. That's right. We're moving from one-eyed dwarves to gnomes in the Midwest, y'all.
Nice.
Midwest gnomes.
I'd never think of America as a place with gnomes, but here we are, baby.
Well, the American kind of tradition of little people is more in the realm of Tommyknockers, right?
Sure, yes.
Which was kind of brought over by Welsh immigrants who were working the mines. So, although there are native legends about the what do they call them? The people eaters who had those poison arrows. But yeah, this is these are only really called gnomes. Some people think that they are from outer space. It's a very strange encounter. I'll tell you about it. This is the encounter as outlined on the W Files, not Y Files, the WFiles.com.
No, that's like a few letters greater than X.
Yeah, boy. And the W stands for Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin's weirdest store. And boy, they have a thing on their website that says posting the paranormal since 1997, and their website shows it. No shade. I think it's wonderful. Don't change a thing. I'm just saying this is an artifact. So apparently the encounter happened in 1975, November 10th. It's the winter. We're in Wauwatosa. Where is Wauwatosa? Let me get you an exact. I think it's in Wisconsin.
I mean, unless the W Files is lying.
Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Yeah. There are 2 people, Anne and Peter E. of Wauwatosa. Believe they had visitors from potentially outer space. Peter, 64, is a foreman with a local construction company for over 30 years until his retirement in 1973. Congratulations, Peter. He still gets excited when he speaks of the experience. Anne, who was 59 in 1967 when this happened, 1976, says she wouldn't believe it if she hadn't seen herself. It was November, 10th of November. Pete remembered the date as if it were branded on his memory. The doorbell rang at 7:50 p.m. That's a little strange.
Like how memory works.
Yeah.
But this is later than when normally the doorbell rings. This is fishy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's 7:50. That's strange. Opening the inner door, Anne, going to answer the bell, peeped through the curtained window on the door, as was her usual practice. So a little curtain next to the door, you know that move. Mm-hmm. Standing just below the stoop, about 4 feet from the door, was a strangely dressed person of average height. So it wasn't especially gnome-like.
That's me on a Sunday.
He was grasping a 5-foot white staff with his left hand.
Oh.
Opening the inner door, Anne quickly locked the screen door, even though it was November. Pete hadn't put on the storm door because it had been a mild fall and the cold Wisconsin winter hadn't arrived. What's a storm door?
I don't know, but it names me perfectly. I am weirdly dressed and I have this 5-foot staff right next to me.
Yes, Anne asked through the screen door. Hearing no reply, she again said, yes. At this point, she turned to her husband for assistance. Come here. He doesn't talk, she said. Pete went to the door. Upon seeing the strange-looking person, he remarked, what the hell is this? Something left over from Trick or Treat? Nice. Nice, Pete.
He's a comedian. I love
He's
that.
A real joker. I like it. He's having fun with it. With that, Pete unlocked the screen door and opened it in order to get a better look at this clown, this joker out here, goofing around at 7:50 for the love of God. The lights from the house clearly lit the visitor. This is a quote from Pete. Skin on his face was the same as smoked meat, and the face was lined with deep grooves, Pete said. He went on to describe the stranger's mouth as a small, puckered opening, no bigger than a dime. Other than recalling that the visitor had a very pointed chin, Pete could not remember any other facial features. So we got us a straight up mummified meat man here.
Yeah, sounds like it. I bet he's tasty.
He sounds like beef jerky, but I don't think I would be eating the meat man. It's not delightful. Anne also drew a blank when it came to describing the rest of the visitor's face, but she did remember his hat. It was shaped like a man's straw hat, except the brim was more narrow.
A man's straw hat?
It kind of sounds like he's wearing like a little Panama hat.
I guess, yeah.
Pete added another item to this description. The person had tufts of hair sticking out from either side of the hat. He could not remember the color of the hair. As Pete leaned out to grab what he at first thought was a prankster, up until this point, everything could kind of sort of be explained. You can be like, all right, this is some kind of kid wearing like a witch mask and a hat and, holding some kind of staff, and they're goofing around. They're having a goof. They decided to go goof on Pete and Ann because they're, a couple of known,
worry warts or something,
doofuses in the area. Yeah. So he leaned out to grab what he thought was a prankster. The visitor raised his white staff and rapped it on the sidewalk. The staff made 3 clicking sounds, and the stranger moved away. He didn't step back or jump back. He just drifted away from me, Pete said.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. It was then that Pete became aware.
Speed 25 or 30.
Yeah, he cast himself a little little misty step. Yeah, exactly. He zipped away. It was then that Pete became aware of 4 other creatures out on the lawn in the street. They were all dressed alike, and they all carried a white staff in their left hands. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but they're kind of dressed in like almost like togas. They're wearing robes like Roger. Oh, I did mention it because you picked up on it, right?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it. You described literally what I put my staff away because it's ridiculous to hold during podcasting.
Right down to your puckered dime-sized mouth.
It's like this all the time.
They were all dressed alike and all carried a white staff in their hands, Pete said. One of them was heavier than the rest. Okay, this is where I come in. He was out in the middle of the street. He was wrapping his staff on the asphalt and floating 2 or 3 feet above the ground each time he clicked it. The staff seemed to be some sort of energy stick. That roly-poly one seemed to be having the time of his life, bouncing up and down like that.
I mean, why is your limitation apparently 25 to 30 feet? Like, if you just hit it again to start up the engine, why doesn't it just continue and you hover the whole time?
It's like he's just having fun, you know?
Fair enough.
Like he's just goofing around out here. Where was I? The roly-poly one was having the time of his life. He looked like the astronauts did when they jumped on the moon, only he seemed to have more control over his movements than they did. Pete described the other 3 visitors as just moving across his lawn. Their feet were making walking motions, but they were 2 or 3 inches above the ground, he said excitedly. All of them, he said, had a deformed look. He described their hands as looking like arthritic claws and their legs as being bent and bowed. They looked like oversized gnomes, he said. As I leaned out, Anne grabbed hold of the suspenders of my overalls and pulled. When she got me back inside, I must have gone into a state of shock. I know I knew exactly what they looked like when I was leaning out the door, but once I was inside the house, I couldn't remember much about their faces or dress. It's almost like there's this kind of amnestic situation going on, but what's more likely is that he was just in shock, you know, and he was kind of having, when have you ever heard of I think they call it the gun phenomenon, where when people get robbed, they're just looking at the gun. And so they don't know what the robber looks like.
Right. You're overstimulated too. There's so much going on to where like, well, I can't remember anything because all this broke my brain a little bit.
Yeah. As they fell into a chair, Anne looked out the front window, he said. I could see only 3 of them, Anne said. The one that had been at the door was drifting across the lawn. He turned and raised his hand to me. It wasn't a clenched fist, just kind of bent. That's how all their hands were naturally. Weird.
Let's make this our hand gesture that all Pingos do.
Yes, to further our cult status. Both Pete and his wife agreed that they did not feel threatened by the visitors. As to why they came to this house, Pete could not give a reason. He thought that their way of communicating was probably different from ours because their mouths were so much smaller. He wondered if they could eat with such small opening and concluded that maybe they could drink liquids through a straw. As soon as he regained his composure, Pete called the Wauwatosa Police Department, Officer Daniel Anderson, after receiving a radio message about strange-looking people annoying residents on Beverly Place, surveyed the area around the Menomonee River Parkway. The parkway is 2 blocks from the home. Pete called the police the next day and the day after that to see if the police had found anything.
I'm picturing them as like on just pinging up and down slowly through the air.
Yeah. They're just chilling.
I like to think of Pete going
all around the neighborhood.
I like to think of Pete also going through his head all the scenarios, and he's like, "Well, what if I gotta feed them? I guess they can drink something through a straw."
And let's get some soup heated up, and we'll keep them. On the 3rd day, Officer Anderson came to the house to say that he had found nothing. Ann and Pete said they got the impression that Anderson thought they were a couple of nuts. So the cops didn't. The cops are useless, as per usual.
Always useless.
Apparently, that must have been the officer's opinion because he did not write up a report about the incident. Peter and Anne still believe they were visited by spacemen, even though they have to take a lot of kidding from friends and relatives. This is a quote. My own son walks hunchbacked and says, click, click, just to kid us.
I'd hit him. You can hit your child, your adult child.
And then when the police show up, be like, I thought he was an alien. I'm sorry, I thought he was an alien. Only one neighbor has been receptive to the story. He and his wife saw a strange vehicle in the sky while driving through the Menomonee River Parkway 2 years ago. His neighbors never told anyone about it until now because they were afraid people would make fun of them. You know, they were right. No one takes us seriously. They all think we're making it up or that someone pulled a joke on us. I'll believe it was a joke when someone shows me those staffs, Pete said. Besides, the whole thing took about 2 minutes. Who would go to so much trouble for 2 minutes? And how could anyone get people to float all over my lawn?
Yeah, show me the staff. Show me you floating. That's how you prove this is wrong.
Pretty wild stuff from the W Files, brought to my attention by Beyond Creepy on YouTube. This is the Wauwatosa Gnomes, and that does it for my segment that I'm calling I Know What You Mean.
Bravo.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Nate, I'm going to place the speaking skull into this pneumatic skull tube, and it should over to your place.
Why did it come with an invoice?
Yeah, I'm going to need you to pay that. That's for the installation of the pneumatic tubes.
So I was trying to stick it with the gnomes and elves thing.
Wee folk.
And I think, and the wee folk. This isn't exactly wee folk, and I think we have probably talked about this a little bit before, but the Machine Elves.
The Machine Elves? Like the Dwemer?
Sort of.
Or those gnome or goblin like things that wreck up the airplanes in Bugs Bunny cartoons. Gremlins.
Yeah, no, these are things that you can encounter through a DMT trip.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, these are fractal elves.
Whoa, okay.
Or tykes.
Whoa. Hit me with some Machine Elves.
Also, I wouldn't be upset if you gave me some DMT to smoke. Unless you're supposed to snort it. I'm not really sure.
No. They smoke it they have like little vape cartridges. I've heard.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. Also, I did want to mention, just before you dive in, we were mentioning the wee folk and aliens, and more I'm starting to think that they are one and the same. That the things that people used to think were fairies that were taking people were aliens, or whatever they turn out to be, extra planar beings.
Well, and that's kind of what this delves into a little bit.
Thought so. I thought it might.
But you know, from this side rather than from their side coming here. In his book Archaic Revival, Terence McKenna refers to them as, quote, self-transforming machine elves.
Whoa.
These are just entities that you encounter during a crazy trip.
Yeah.
He talks about them as being part of the DMT dimension, which is a place that you can reach where you can see all manner of things.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to do DMT.
Here's the thing.
I think that's a little bit much for me.
I'm too anxious for psychedelics. If I have like something that can handle my anxiety at the time, if I've got like some Xanax or something, then yeah, let's party. But like just the dosing and the whole weirdness of it, I want so badly to be like one of these fucking psychonauts who like goes and touches the other world. But I'm just like, oh, my emotions and all of my thought constructs will be there waiting for me, and I'll have to fight them.
Yep, that's why you need a mind gun.
I'm developing one.
And with better help,
our new sponsor by
the BetterHelp Mind Gun course
by Monstroko, getting into therapy through violence.
Boy, there's definitely going to be a Monstroko therapy product next time.
As detailed in his book, True Hallucinations, McKenna traveled with his brother and some friends to La Chorrera in the Colombian Amazon in search of ukihe, a DMT containing plant preparation used by the indigenous people to access the spirit realm.
Yeah.
McKenna found that their descriptions of entity contact resembled his own experiences with the Machine Elves. Quote, "What was eye-catching about the description of this visionary plant preparation was that the Wauwatosa tribe of the Upper Amazon, who alone knew the secret of making it, used it to talk to little men and gain knowledge from them."
Oh, my.
Machine elves are frequently portrayed in trip reports as benevolent, playful, prankish, and sometimes ornery.
Ornery little fellas.
Yeah, you know.
They sound like scamps.
Generally, they're reported to greet the visitors with childlike curiosity and innocence, often continuously changing form and seeing immensely complicated objects into existence, which sounds utterly terrifying, honestly.
Really?
Singing immensely complicated objects into existence.
Yeah,
like
hex.
Like an apple with 70 stems.
Yeah, or just... You've heard of a dodecahedron? How about a dodecahedron and its feet?
Terrible. Please no.
They commonly urge the DMT realm visitors to try to focus on what they're showing them, or even want the subject to imitate what they're doing. So possibly you can learn how to manipulate things in the fabric of the energy of the world, I guess.
Okay, I'm down. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry, this is a really long ass page.
You can become a Neo.
You could possibly become
for the programming of reality.
Oh,
the fabric of reality. You could use it to stop bullets, or let's be honest, make your wiener huge. We all know what we would use it for.
Well,
I would like to make it sideways.
I want to make it so my wiener can stop bullets.
Nice. Like a whip, catch him out of the sky.
Yeah. Be like Wonder Woman's whip of truth.
I was picturing like a shovel. The DMT experience is certainly married to the cultural context in which the trip happens. There are, however, marked similarities between experiences with machine elves and old folkloric accounts of elves and fairies. These accounts are documented extensively by the anthropologist Walter Evans Wentz in his 1911 book, The Fairy, Faith in Celtic Countries. Or possibly The Fairy Faith in Celtic Countries.
Oh, okay.
One of the two. The Celtic people of Britain, Ireland, and France largely believed in the existence of hyperdimensional elves and fairies in the earliest 20th century, around the time Evans Wentz recorded his encounters.
Now we're getting into Shadowrun territory.
In the second world, elves walked upon man.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the Celtic people saw them as spirits of the dead, maintaining some ability to communicate with the living. In his book, Evans Wentz claims that the realm containing these little people exists, quote, as a supernormal state of consciousness into which men and women may enter temporarily in dreams, trances, or in various ecstatic conditions. And again, this is in 1911.
Wild. Ecstatic conditions, aka tripping balls.
Along similar lines, perhaps DMT also grants entrance to the realms the Celtic people spoke of more than a century ago. I'm going to skip over some of this stuff. Let's go to what the Machine Elves look like.
Wait, they're physical? I mean, obviously, duh, but I'm always surprised when there's a physical description.
Yeah, they're self-transforming machine elves, like Autobots.
Machine Elves can take on many forms depending on the individual.
Like Autobots.
Exactly. Many experimenters find recalling the precise image of the Machine Elves can be difficult, due in part to the fact that their energetic shape may continuously transform. However, many artists have depicted fractal-like and mechanical representations.
Whoa.
Here's from Terence McKenna's True Hallucinations. I believe this is dating back to 1965. Quote, during my own experiences smoking synthesized DMT in Berkeley, I had the impression of bursting into a space inhabited by merry elfin self-transforming machine creatures.
Wow.
Well, I like how this guy's getting grant money for smoking DMT at
Oh,
Berkeley.
my man. He's professor of getting funky.
Dude. From like 1960 to 1990, Berkeley was killer. Dozens of these friendly fractal entities looking like self-dribbling Fabergé eggs on the rebound.
What?
Which is a wild description.
Crazy. That's some fucking naked lunch shit right there.
Had surrounded me and tried to teach me the lost language of true poetry.
Wow. My dude is far out.
In The Invisible Landscape, McKenna describes another personal account with the Machine Elves, stating they're like, quote, jeweled self-dribbling basketballs that come pounding toward you and they'll stop in front of you and vibrate, end quote.
Hey.
All of this he described as happening in a high-speed mode, like being flooded with thousands of details per second.
Wow.
Question, can you talk with Machine Elves? According to anecdotal reports, interactions with Machine Elves can vary dramatically. Communication with Machine Elves may occur subtly through gesture and movement, but largely is mental telepathy, which makes a lot of sense. The direct thought transference in the DMT realm is often likened to a Matrix-style upload of a rapid, unfathomable amount of information. Machine Elf interactions are also commonly described in terms of visual language, where things heard become seen, a sort of geometric hyperspace synesthesia.
Yeah.
The Machine Elves may use song to communicate, speaking either conceptual thoughts or, as McKenna has put it, in, quote, translinguistic glossolalia.
That's quite the merger of terms.
Just like snow. Informa, I'm a machine elf now.
I like how the elves talk telepathically or through song, which raises the questions. Not a question. This would be a choice that they make. And I would hate to be like, let's say we're tripping together, and I would need therapy for the moment where they give you two the song and I just get talked to. Like you two would go first and then they would just speak mentally to me and they'd be like, we don't wish to play anymore.
Yeah. You are not ready for the song. You're not down with the sickness. Is your song just down with the sickness? What? No.
Yes.
So apparently enough trips have been taken and categorized that psychologist Jennifer A. Like of Stockton University has managed to get a percentage of the likelihood of the type of interaction you're going to have with any given machine elf.
That's crazy. You're using math for the right stuff, ma'am.
And I'm going to go down this just because I think it's insane. So showing and teaching or guiding, 25%. No interaction, 10%. Hostile, also 10%. Warmth, 9%. Welcoming, 9%. Reassuring or encouraging, 8%. Neutrality or observation, 7%. Playful, 4%. Power or control, that's at a 3. Sexual, also at a 3.
Boo. I want more options to fuck the elves inside my mind, man.
Us, the elf dick. Did you see that thing? There was a thing recently on Reddit where there was a bunch of photos of like supposed aliens posted, and they were all had like their genitals blurred out, but the black bars were enormous. And all of the comments were just like, show us the alien dicks. We are ready for them. Society's ready.
We are, and I think it truly is like the government who's not ready to show us the alien dick. They're all like, the human race will die. All of you will just mate with the aliens.
Listen, y'all are ready for the alien hog. It is immaculate. I'm not going to lie. It's a thing of beauty.
Anyway, this has been the presser. No more questions.
Good night.
So that same researcher, Jennifer A. Like, also managed to get percentages of the types of entities reported in the DMT realm.
Nice. I like that this researcher's going the full distance, man.
Really
Give me the stats.
So, and this kind of lines up with some of them pretty clearly, but poorly defined or unclear entities is at 29%. Humanoids at 22%. Divine beings at a 10%.
Oh.
Aliens at an 8%.
Oh.
Elves and fairies at a 7%. Animals at a 6%. Geometric objects or machines also at 6%. Voices at 4%. Faces at 4%.
Just faces, huh?
Just faces.
Weird.
No land, just faces too. You're standing on a cheek. The sun is a nose.
Yikes.
And miscellaneous entities at 3%.
Crazy.
What do you think of yourself as? I think I'm a miscellaneous entity.
Well, I was going to say humanoid, but celestial beings on the board.
Yeah. What do they mean? What's the difference between a celestial being and a humanoid? Do they mean like Beyonce?
All right. So I have definitions here.
Oh,
humanoid beings are a common archetype of the DMT experience. This may include, but certainly be not limited to, ordinary humans. Oh, this is fucking phenomenal. Ordinary humans, shadow people, hooded figures, clowns, goblins,
Oh, God.
ancestors, cartoon-like entities, stick figures, light beings, elementals, and shamans.
Clowns. It makes perfect sense that clowns are from another dimension.
And
Clowns
shamans
and
just like
same
teleported in.
spot.
They
This
were like
whole
doing
thing-
a sweat lodge, and all of a sudden they're here in your mind. They're like, "How'd I get here?"
This whole thing has big Mighty Boosh energy.
Well, and the humanoid beings also seem to be the ones that are like most typically guides or helpers, or offering some sort of light teaching about, I realize it's your first time in the DMT universe.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to check out my room?
Whereas divine beings, contact with all-powerful supreme beings or the source of all creation, the Godhead, is commonly reported in DMT trips. Individuals also report seeing Gaia, demigods, goddesses, demons, angels, souls, spiritual elders, and religious figures like Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, and Muhammad.
Okay.
So there you go. The divine beings seem to offer nothing, where the humanoids, even the ones that are clowns and goblins, are like, hey, I want to give you a hand up.
I gotta also say, those divine beings that they just described, they're still humanoid. You know?
True. But,
The
they
Buddha
have
transcended
more
that.
divinity.
Yeah, I guess so.
So did Jesus. So did the Jesus man. I think he
But I mean, they still had
transfigured or something.
Humanoid form. Yeah, remember at the end of the Bible when Jesus becomes drinks the ooze and becomes super Jesus?
And he defeats Pontius Shredder, I think was his name.
Yeah, that's right. After after Pontius Pilate gets the ooze.
Yeah. He becomes Pontius Shredder. And then, Casey Jones ends up meeting Vanilla Ice, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Animals is also kind of fun. Many animals have been reported in DMT trips. It appears to be a common theme, especially in ayahuasca experiences. Common animals reported include reptiles, mantises, bees, spiders, felines, jellyfish, and insects.
The more we kind of delve into this, like, other planar existence, like the fucking things that lie just outside of human consciousness, the more we get close to kind of a unified theory of paranormal bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Especially since, like, this other realm that you can enter through your drugs and stuff that very much people have as we're talking, have dealt with are the same stuff that, like, you got the Hat Man.
Yeah.
You got weird beings that just move around in ways that are unperceivable by human conception.
You also apparently see common gray aliens, blue aliens, Pleiadians, Arcturians, reptoids, insectoids. They're all in there too.
I just want to meet another alien like us. I'm sick of all these interdimensional beings that, like, are telepathic. I just want to meet a Vulcan, someone who talks through their mouth, someone I can love, simple stuff.
Yeah.
But not an
That's much to
interdimensional
ask
being. I wish there could be normal aliens, but it seems space and time and space travel will not allow it currently until we build a werewolf radar engine.
We'll get there.
So we'll close this out with the section in here called Are DMT Entities Real? The ontological status of DMT entities has been debated by scientists, philosophers, theologians, and psychonauts for decades.
Psychonauts.
There's just some dude with like a leather jacket at the convention.
What do you do? I'm a mathematician. What do you do? I'm a molecular biologist. How about you? Psychonaut.
I touch hands with God once every couple of months. All right. In short, it's an open question whether the DMT realm and the entities that exist outside of human consciousness are a product of human consciousness or something else. Many individuals who have had entity contact report the experience as being more real than real.
That's so strange.
Which always feels a little bit like bullshit to me, but
really, it always feels. I mean, I guess so. And like, I guess at the end of the day, all of this stuff can be explained by tripping. And like anybody who's ever taken psychedelics can tell you that like shit can feel so significant and it's all just brain chemicals. Or is it? And is that what they want you to know? It's like this. It's like after you trip and have like a life altering experience, and touch the cosmos and feel the vibration of every molecule in reality and how we're all one, intermingling. Afterwards, trying to tell anybody about it or even trying to remember it feels like you're trying to tell somebody about a dream.
No,
it's like, it doesn't make sense anymore.
You sound like an insane person.
Like an insane person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of hallucinogens.
Yeah.
And that's why the more real than real thing always feels like bullshit, because it's like, no, you were tripping balls.
You were just tripping. It's all chemicals, my man. Or
is that the real? Did you finally
Right?
feel all the senses at once, like humankind can achieve? But we've been slowed down since the Dark Ages, since the Mayan cycle has entered the dark period, and at 2012 we've entered the light period, and now you can enter it again. Nate, let's buy some DMT.
Well, all right. I mean, I'm not above it.
Yeah.
Soon you're going to be
Pretty
below
crazy.
it. The DMT skies.
Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty wild shit out there.
That is to say, the person in the thralls of a DMT experience feels the same mentally, allowing the experimenter to keep who they are, only propelled into an entirely different reality.
Well, that's nice.
Here's a quote from Terrence McKenna. And you know what? Maybe I'll just leave on this quote because this is pretty fun.
Okay.
Is there risk to DMT? It sounds so intense. Is it dangerous? The answer is yes. It's tremendously dangerous. The danger is the possibility of death by astonishment.
Whoa. Sounds like me the first time I played a PlayStation 4.
Dude, when I popped open that PS5 and I played Biomutant, I was literally astonished by the slightly better graphics.
Yeah, I haven't been truly astonished since like Nintendo 64, when it was like a real leap into the next dimension. And I was like, well, this is as good as Mario will ever look.
And you're not
Look
wrong.
How many cubes he is.
64 cubes.
Super Mario 3 is still the best one.
I'm a Mario World guy. Super Mario World.
Me?
Super Mario.
I like Sonic. I'll see myself out.
You get the hell out of here. Boo. Folks, thank you so much for listening to Werewolf Radar. You guys are the best. Thank you for your continued support. Shout out to Michael King, Cheesebot, Paranoid Cryptid for kicking it in the Zoom room. If you are a Dark Council member, you can come and hang out with us every Sunday as we record the pod in the Zoom room live. You can see how the sausage is made. You can see all the bits we snip out because people don't want that in their sausage. If you are not a Dark Council member, you can go to patreon.com/Werewolf Radar. You can give us a small financial donation. You get an extra episode every week. We call it a grave nugget. You get tidbits here and there of art and different projects, and we can hang out in the Discord, and we can all prepare for the wave of darkness that will soon wash over the land, and we'll be ready for it when the others will not, and they will, they'll be down there scrabbling around, running from werewolves and vampires and strigoi, and they'll reach up and say, help us, and we will say no from our tower. What else? Twitch.tv/werewolf_radar. We play video games there. We play D&D there. It's a lot of fun. Come check us out. We're usually playing on Mondays. Shout out to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Threads. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on all of the shit. Wherever you can find us.
WerewolfRadar.com.
Please give us 5 stars. And until next time, as always, our sign-off line on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky.
Punch the sky.
Spaceman
Joe.